Thank you so much, Rahma, for sitting with me here today for Palestine Talks. It's an honor to be here with you as well. I'm hoping we can talk about Gaza, mainstream journalism, and American empire. So perhaps to start, we can address what you were talking about in the European Parliament recently about these ripple effects. You mentioned that when it comes to Europe's double standards on Palestine, we can expect to see certain ripple effects. I wonder if you can expound on what these effects are.
Exactly. So you're having these ripple effects with what we're seeing, for example, with India and Pakistan. What the amount of violence that Israel is ensuing on Palestine is setting a precedence for what is being allowed in today's world. I mean, if you're seeing such horrific images not every day now, every hour, and for the world to be doing nothing and for the world to be unable to do anything about it, this is not just scary or it's not just dangerous for Palestinians. People need to understand that this is dangerous for the whole lot of us. People need to realize and start speaking unapologetically about Zionism being an extremist movement, an extremist ideology. And you should absolutely not be apologetic. I mean, look, you have a beautiful, talented singer like Kilani. She spoke out. She simply said, killing people is wrong. She gets cancelled from her show in Central Park. This form of bullying should scare you as much as the amount of violence that is happening in Israel, that is happening to Palestinians by Israel. So it's really setting a precedence for the violence that's being allowed. But it has uncovered, but there is a positive from all of this, that it has uncovered the reality of the world we live in today, that people can no longer move about their daily lives sedated, waiting for the politicians, waiting for the thought leaders, and how they think and how they act. We need to be more active in our own societies. And I get it, because the thing is, it's so easy sometimes for me to speak. I'm an Egyptian living in Egypt. But I get it, if you're an Arab, if you're an African who is living in the diaspora, it's difficult. You have mouths to feed. It's difficult to speak up because you're instantly dubbed anti-Semitic. The racism is profound. But at some point, you stay sedated. This is just going to continue, and you do need to stand up. And it's no longer a point of appeasing the other. It's no longer being invited on the table of the other, because you're only then presented as a token rather than an active participant who brings out our issues.
To your point on being proactive, I'm wondering if you can bring us back to when you confronted that CNN journalist, what that was like for you, and how you see it today. Like, do you see anything having changed in the mainstream?
Khalas, I didn't even talk about it then, and I don't talk about it now. Because what should be going viral is the image of these families being burnt alive. That's what we should be confronting. I understand that it was a shake-up for people to realize that mainstream media is lying to you, but it is a point now where we need to move past these wake-up points and start taking action. Enough talk, more action. And when I'm saying action, I'm not just inviting people to maybe, if they can, do some civil disobedience, which honestly sometimes, yes, I am, but you have different strategies for opening a door. There's not one way. I always laugh. You had Malcolm X and you had Martin Luther King, and they were not necessarily the best of friends, It was only at the end that they sort of reconciled, but they had different methodologies. I get that we are all acting in the absence of state.
Yes.
As individuals, we are all assuming what is the right thing to do. I'm going to sound like such a tree hugger now, but sometimes you do need to listen to your heart, and you need to see what you believe is right, as long as you're not harming another, and because you're not doing this to win. And you're doing this because it's the right thing to do. But let me tell you, this is the end of Zionism. We are watching the beginning of an end. The US has never spoken like this. Their media has never spoken like this before. For me to open the New York Times and for them to say Israel is not our ally, that is a big deal. And that should give you hope and fuel you to continue.
Well, part of the reason I ask about the confrontation is because, to your credit, I feel that in that moment you're drawing from courage and love. And I'm wondering, how do you tap into that and how maybe others can do similar.
I laugh at this, and I said it before, because of the way my Egyptian family is.
Yes.
We don't really hold ourselves in such high regard, which is a beautiful thing. But it also takes away from caring about what someone is going to think of me, about not really being a bit more impulsive. My grandmother was one of the most impulsive people I know. She didn't think of repercussions, which is good and bad, I guess. But it is important, again, for you to... it's actually really good that you said that, because I'll tell you something. Part of empowering your narrative is empowering yourself. You need to be comfortable in your skin. You need to be sure of yourself. You need to have the right beacons around you. And this is why we say the dismantling of current celebrities and thought leaders who have no backbone. No backbone has kind of really shifted the way people think and look up to things. But maybe now is not the time to look up to thought leaders and influencers online, but rather to look into your own self and see the people who are physically around you, who are friends, family, or people in your society that you can at least talk to, that are not behind the screen, that can just disappear whenever.
Yes. I mean, we're well over a year into the genocide, and we're still seeing among so much of Western media failure to properly cover Gaza. And I'm wondering why, in your view, is that still happening?
I don't waste my time thinking about what Western media is not saying or what Western media is saying. I don't waste my time thinking about the immense shadow banning. I don't waste my time thinking of the provocation of ridiculous Zionist bots. I don't waste my time thinking of when I was in LA and someone spat on me. I don't waste my time bogging myself down with what is an obstacle. Yes. Because if you start thinking of things and obstacles that are around you, you will stop. Yes. The most important thing is to keep going and to find ways to keep going. You have the why, you have the how. Your why is you're doing this because it's the right thing to do, because there is absolutely no way I'm going to continue on an earth that is justifying the obliteration of families whole and burning families alive, because the word Palestinian is before family. This I refuse. And therefore, I'm going to think of what is going to fuel me and others to keep going. I will continue traveling to support those who speak up. I will continue opening my platform to those who can, and I'm not saying me, I'm saying all of us are doing this, and it's very important for us to do this and to simply continue. That's the only thing, it's your only option, you know what I mean? You have a knife to your back now and you're just walking. That's the way to go.
Absolutely. Do you think it's important for people to see what's happening in Gaza as part of a larger attempt to erase the Arab people? Not just the people in Gaza, but this is going to expand if they don't do anything.
Listen, we've said this before. This is a movement of the global South. This is a movement of people who are realizing that the institutions were just there as weapons. They were not there to serve you or your people or your image or your narrative. They are now being very much tools against you. And it is important to realize that Palestine, and also to say the word Palestine, because I've met a lot of politicians who are scared to say the word Palestine. That's why they always say just Gaza, Gaza, Gaza. You need to say the word Palestine, and Palestine has unmasked the world. And now you have a decision to make to go about your 9-to-5 job and just, stay sedated, or to take active part. But the thing is, people need to understand, you can go about your daily life and still find forms of resistance. It's not just protesting in the street, it's also joining institutions, it's joining foundations like the Hind Rajab Foundations, it's volunteering with Tech for Palestine, it's joining panels, it's being aware, it's sitting on a dinner table and speaking the truth and not shying about it being too political, and realize the world is politicized now. Listen, everyone is with Palestine. This is the case, and you need to act accordingly. You are not alone in this, and people need to really realize this, but to know that even if you are alone in this, you should still continue, because it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do, exactly. If I'm correct, you did talk about once, at least, about empowering the United Nations so they can better or more concretely do something for Palestine. Could you expound on that or detail that? Yes.
So it was interesting, me and one of the panelists.
Right.
The thing is, we have the same goal, talking about liberation, But both of us were kind of having this debate.
Yes.
Do you boycott the institutions?
Yes.
Or do you work within to try and change?
Yes.
I believe that both are necessary. You can do both. It's not opposing ends. You can start building your own table, because we've said that now we see that the tables that you are allowed to sit on are the ones where you need to adhere and appease a narrative that is actually against you. That's why some of the most dangerous politicians are the ones that look like me, but are on their script. So it is actually important to do both, to start creating your own table, but to also, in the meantime, be within these institutions voicing. I was in the EU Parliament and I spoke there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it is important to also confront, but in the meantime, mobilize to make an alternative.
Certainly. I just want to also ask you about Trump and American empire. Do you feel that he gave during his campaign, his electoral campaign, false hope that he would do, not that he's the person we have to rely on by any means for there to be justice in Palestine, but that he gave false hope that he would help stop Israeli violence against the Palestinians?
We cannot negate that we need this individual at this point right now. Let's be serious. But what is interesting about this individual is, like I said, for the first time we're seeing the New York Times saying Israel is not our ally, and there is a shift in US politics. Zionism is not a good look for anyone. And the more people start to realize that, the more Zionism is defeated. And they have shot themselves in the foot. For you to see what they are capable of and their intent, because you're not just seeing them killing whole families, you're seeing their soldiers don the lingerie of Palestinian women who are dead or displaced, play with children's toys who are dead or displaced, and then going on holidays in countries around the world. So you as a Zionist are a danger to me, not me saying killing families is wrong. And this is what is a civilized world, when you can say killing families is wrong and not be cancelled for it. So this shift and this realization is showing America that no, Zionism is not a good look for you.
And do you feel that contesting Zionism within the, say, for example, the Palestinian solidarity movement is more than just like challenging Zionism or Israel itself, but challenging
Zionism
or resisting Zionism is also about challenging or resisting American empire?
Listen, speaking up against Zionism is speaking up against colonialism as a whole, is speaking up against gluttony, is speaking up against vice, is speaking up about everything that is wrong in the world. I'm telling you, if I am being bullied and cancelled for saying killing families is wrong, that goes back to Zionism being an oppressive ideology that is forcing and force-feeding a narrative that is not yours. It is, and listen, it is absolutely a racist notion for you to assume that to colonize a people will not mean resistance. You cannot take someone's home and for them to fight back and you condemn that. You condemn the person who took the home.
Absolutely. This normalizing of like people just doing nothing, it's absurd. It's absurd, but to your point, yes, certainly racist as well. And I'm wondering, before we finish up here, if you have any final thoughts or observations that you'd like to share.
As a Canadian, I think you need to urge your government, for me as an Egyptian passport holder, to help us get better visas. Thank you very much. That's it.
No problem. Well, thank you so much, Rahma.
Thank you.
The pleasure and the honor.
Thank you very much.
All the very best.
Thank you.